One evening, he walked out to the truck expecting a simple repair. An hour later, he was staring at the engine and thinking about his children. The truck could be fixed. The problem was the price. Then he looked toward the house. Through the kitchen window, he could see dinner on the table. His wife was pouring coffee. His children were talking about their day. Nobody was worried. Nobody knew that one broken part had just become the most expensive thing he owned. Without that repair, the truck would stop. If the truck stopped, he could not work. If he could not work, the paycheck would disappear. What would you say when your family was counting on you and you had no answer? Thousands of fathers faced that question during the Great Depression. Many stayed silent. They smiled. And they carried the fear alone, because the repair bill was only the beginning. Today, a broken vehicle is an inconvenience. Back then, it could be a disaster. For many families, the truck was not transportation. It was survival. It carried workers to factories, farmers to market, tools to job sites. Without it, money stopped moving. A single broken part could trap a man at home for days, sometimes weeks, and every missed day meant lost pay. The worst part? The bills never stopped. Rent was still due. Food still had to be bought. Children still needed shoes. So men learned to listen for trouble. A strange noise, a rough start, a new vibration. Every sound raised the same question. Would this be the breakdown they could not afford? Many repairs were delayed. Others were patched together with wire, scrap metal, and hope. Some trucks stayed on the road far longer than they should have. But the real struggle was not keeping the truck alive. It was hiding the fear that came with it. So he learned to act normal. He came inside and washed the grease from his hands. He sat at the table. He asked the children about school. He nodded while his wife talked. But his mind stayed outside with the truck. Could he borrow a part? Could he patch it one more time? Could he get to work before it failed completely? That was the cruel part. The family saw a father eating dinner, but he was already calculating losses. Gas, rent, food, the repair, the days he might miss. Some men hid bills in toolboxes. Some kept bad news in their pockets. Some waited until everyone was asleep, then went back outside with a flashlight. They worked in the cold. They worked in silence, not because they were proud, because admitting the truth would make it real. And once the family knew, the fear would no longer belong to him alone. Keeping the secret did not solve the problem. It only bought time, and time was expensive. The truck still needed a repair. The bills still arrived. The money still wasn't there. So sacrifices began. A new pair of shoes could wait. A coat could last another winter. A broken tool could be used one more season. Small decisions at first, then larger ones. Some fathers sold possessions they had owned for years. Others skipped meals without saying why. Children often never noticed. That was the point. Every dollar spent on the family was a dollar that could not go into the truck. And every dollar spent on the truck was a dollar that could not go onto the dinner table. That was the choice many families faced. Not comfort or luxury, work or food, mobility or survival. The truck was supposed to support the family. Now the family was being forced to support the truck. And for some men, the worst decision was still ahead. Years later, many children remembered the truck. They remembered the long nights in the driveway. They remembered their father working under a flashlight. They remembered patched parts and worn tires. What many did not remember was the fear, because their fathers had hidden it well. That was the goal. The repair was never just a repair. The truck was never just a truck. It was a paycheck, a meal, a roof, a future. And every time a father kept his worries to himself, He was trying to protect those things for one more day. Looking back, many families never realized how close they had come to losing everything. They only remembered that somehow the truck kept running. Somehow the bills got paid. Somehow dinner stayed on the table. But behind many of those memories stood a father carrying a burden nobody could see. Perhaps that is why so many never told the full story. Not because they forgot, because they wanted their children to remember the security, not the fear.